Now it's my show. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nsima, and welcome to Black History Month Basingstoke. And I'll tell you a little story, right? When I first moved to the UK, in 2010, I went to uni in London. I loved London. It was like Lagos, back home, Nigeria, where I came from. There's hustling and bubbling. You see a lot of people. Everybody's out and about. Then I finished uni. Then you know what happens. Thank you. I know someone was going to interrupt me. Then I finished uni. You know what happens? Daddy and mommy stop giving you money. Then you need to look after yourself. You need to grow up. Then I got a job in Basingstoke. I'm like, God, where is Basingstoke? I don't know. Then I went to the map, I went on the internet, started reading stuff. Like, my God, what am I doing to myself? I don't want to go to a boring town. I don't want to go to a boring place. God, where is this place? But you know what? Then I did something. I took the job offer, but I refused to move to Basingstoke. I was commuting from London every day for a month to Basingstoke. But you know what happens? The cost of transportation started eating in. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing to myself? But you know what? I decided to keep an open mind. And I said, I'm going to move to Basingstoke. And I did. And I'll tell you what, today, in many respects, that is one of the best decisions that I've made in my life. Because what makes Basingstoke amazing Stoke is the people. And I don't just feel at home. I am at home. So thanks very much for coming to the grand finale of Black History Month 2023. Today we're here to celebrate the people of Basingstoke because we are who we are where we live. And today we're here to celebrate the wonderful work of people who every day in their homes, in their offices, within the community, in their various professions, make Basingstoke an enjoyable place for people like me that have traveled far away to settle down in Basingstoke. And tonight in particular, we are going to be recognizing a lot of those achievers. We are going to be celebrating them, but also we are going to be saluting a lot of our sisters who have, on a daily basis, continue to give their quota to make sure that everyone is at home. I need to observe protocols before my boss, Effie, tell me off. I welcome everybody here. I'd like to recognize the presence of our Deputy Mayor, Councillor Dan Porty. I also like to acknowledge the presence of the leader of our lovely council, Councillor Paul Avi. Also, joining us here today is our MP, Maria Miller. And also like to recognize the presence of the Bishop of Basingstoke, Reverend David Williams. Also, we've got the Cabinet Member for Communities, Partnership and Inclusion in the person of Councillor John Markay. And of course, last but by no means the least, the Deputy Lieutenant of Amsha, Hugo Kubit. At this junction, I'd like to invite Effie Blankson to come forward and do what she knows how to do best. I'll do that for you.
Well, hello and welcome to our very first in-person Achievers Awards and celebration. You all look absolutely marvelous. So thank you for coming. Now, I wanted to write you a very lovely speech. And I did start, and I did intend to actually finish it later on this afternoon. But earlier on today, something happened. This afternoon, we unveiled a plaque in honor of one of our incredible women here in Basingstoke who has committed and done so much in nursing. Our Mama Jean Holmes Morris is our very first Black woman to have a plaque raised in her honor. And so, before I begin, I just want us to really applaud our Mama Jean with a standing ovation, actually, for, I'm going to tell you more, okay? And whilst we're standing, I just want to read what the plaque says. It says, this plaque is in celebration of Jean Holmes Morris and her long and distinguished career in nursing. Arriving in England in 1962, aged 19 to train as a nurse, Jean spent her early career caring for the patients of Park Pruitt Hospital in Basingstoke. She went on to train and mentor future generations of nurses. In leadership roles at King Alfred College and Basingstoke School, Jean dedicated 25 years of her life to nurturing the growth and development of her students. Jean, thank you for your huge contribution to the Black history of Basingstoke. So thank you very much, Jean. Thank you. So that was one of the things that happened that was really heartfelt. And then I was having a conversation with a man that we all know very well, our EDI officer at Basingstoke and Dean Borough Council, Islam Jalaita. And as we all know, war, conflict is ongoing between Palestine and Israel. And Islam is from Palestine. And he was going to attend this evening. But in conversation, he said, Effie, please accept my apologies. My head is all over the place. Because I don't know when it's going to hit my family. And that broke me very much. And it got me thinking about what it is I want to tell you today. And my plan was to tell you about so many of the wonderful things that we have done as a grouping. But I have to say that actually it starts probably with what was in our hearts, probably for what was George Floyd, but also very much what was Islam. a man who took his job over and beyond. Because without Islam, the 6 groups in this consortium, the Cultural Diversity Consortium, may truly not be. He had a vision in his heart that joined so beautifully with ours at a time that really mattered so much. And so in that spirit of conflict and hurt and pain, it transcends into what Black people have been through. And we share that common understanding. And I think we all stand for peace. We all stand for equity. We all stand for just being free to be able to live our lives the way in which we desire, to accomplish, and if you're Christian, God's will, or whatever your God is, and fulfilling your purpose. And so it drove me to the very core of why we came together. It may have started with George Floyd, but we found deeper reasons, emotional, invoking ones, that said, we have a culture, we have a heritage, we have a history that we cannot forget. We have inequalities that we have to do our utmost best each and every day that we wake up to do good and want for good to be done unto us. As a Christian, love thy neighbor is always the first thing that comes to my mind. And then the second, one of my grandmother's greatest mantras was to trust and obey. And so we have, since 2020, been very focused on how we share our stories, our journeys, our contributions. There's a lot we can say about empire and colonialism and slavery or slave trade. There's a lot that can be said about it. It's history that cannot be forgotten. But it tells us where we need to get to. It tells us how we need to empower ourselves. And that is the focus of this consortium. How do we build a thriving Black community? How do we bring about awareness, education, foster community cohesion? One that says, I can wear my fugu and be the old one in the place, but still be accepted. I can wear black lipstick if I want to, and not be necessarily thought of as a vampire. It's acceptance, it's love, it's joy. And so some of the ways that we have creatively tried our best to create that thriving place for all of us is through some of the workshops that we have done. Now, COVID permitted us to do this online, from educational workshops, and through that, there was a deep awakening of how we incorporate our history and our journey into our curriculum. And actually, one of our ladies we're saluting today was very integral to that educational workshop. And that is ongoing, together with Hampshire County Council School Improvement Team. The other workshop was on business. How are we thriving in our businesses in Basingstoke and beyond? Where is the funding? We have challenges there. How do we address them? We have our links with the council, and we are tapping into them. But what the outcome of that was building a Black-owned business directory in Basingstoke. And many of you will not know it because we haven't shouted enough about it. But now we are. And that directory is there. And it's a very amazing list of about 20 so far, but we know there is more. And we will keep building on that. Of course, when COVID came, the vaccination drive was really important to us and our communities. And we did that. And across health, we have been engaging very actively with HHFT, which is Hampshire Hospitals Foundation Trust, Alex, Fiona, and we are making inroads in some of the things that really matter to us. The inequalities there, maternity, mortality amongst Black women being one of them. The other thing is working with our police. Stop and search. We've seen the results of some of them online, and they needn't be so. And so working with our police here, we have an amazing district commander in Scott, and all of his predecessors have been absolutely fantastic in making sure that our young people especially are well versed in what their rights are and what good practice should look like from our police. Our Windrush, of course, they are our seniors, they are our mamas and papas, and we have made sure that we have celebrated them at every opportunity. And you would know that the 75th anniversary this year was absolutely spectacular. A 2-year wait with the Hampshire Cultural Trust, and that beautiful exhibition that we had, the feedback, absolutely inspiring and emotional to read. 2 of the first that ever happened in our town. Number 1 was raising a flag to recognize the Windrush. When we work to campaign for the things that work, that keep us encouraged and motivated, that we are part and parcel of this community. And raising a flag may seem insignificant to many, but it really is not. It's recognition, it's acceptance of that who we are and that we belong. And followed on swiftly was the first time raising the flag for Black History Month. We sit here in Basingstoke and we see so many things happening in our region. And it almost felt like, are we part and parcel of here? Do we have to beg? But finally, we have arrived, and we continue to build on all of this. And so we have all of the leadership to thank. From the onset, from then Mayor, who we had our very first letter to, Councillor Diane Taylor, and the current leadership who really sprang to action when we had our meeting only a few months ago, to carry on from what had the foundations that had been laid. And so we have become trusted partners because we do what we say we will do when we will do, and we do it well. We have established these Achievers Awards because more often than not, we know that we are missed. And like I said, we don't shout enough about what we achieve, what we do for our communities. And so we established this to make sure that we are continuously encouraged to never relent and never give up. And for our young people to keep believing that if I try hard enough and I do my very best, and that's all that matters. The Big Chat is one of the other instruments that we have used. And the Big Chat is really sitting around with the leadership across our town, from our MP to the leadership at our hospital, the police, the council. And last year, we actually welcomed Hampshire FA as sport on our partnership at the Big Chat. And over the years, we have had many discussions about how we make everybody comfortable and be a part and feel a real part and parcel of this amazing Stoke. and we have made many inroads. And at the end of the program, when you see speakers, at the end, you will be hearing from each one of our big chat partners. And what they're going to tell you is a summary of where we've been, where we are, and where we're hoping to go across those areas. Of course, I can't forget the Ukraine appeal, where we helped immensely, led by BACA, one of our groupings. And that gave us a lot of satisfaction to know that we were able to lend a hand for those who were in dying need. And so these are some of the things that we have achieved as a very small grouping of 6 groups. The leadership team is 2 from each group. And if you imagine 12 people having led to do this, can you imagine if all of us chipped in a little bit, what we can achieve together? So at this point, I want to encourage each and every one of you here, think about what little that I can give to chip in, to make this stronger and last a lifetime for all of our children to come and continue. Now, earlier on this year when we met, we realized that what we set out from the beginning had evolved very much. And so we asked the question, does the name, the Cultural Diversity Consortium, actually tell everyone what we do? And so after a rethink, we took the decision to have a bit of a name change. And that took a bit of back and forth discussions as to what that was going to be, what was really going to capture everything that we do across health, policing, all of that. And it became a case of one common item that really binds, and that was a piece of fabric. Because if we think about all of our cultures and heritage, fabric, in Ghana, when you're getting married, you get asked to bring some fabric for the woman as part of the bride price. It's precious commodity. And when we have our babies, we use the cloth to carry them on our backs, on our fronts. And that is to keep them secure, to let them know that you're home, you're safe here with me. And so we felt strongly that that was a symbol that we could go with, that at any point in time, whatever culture that you are, whether you call it a sling, whether you call it a sarong, you feel that when you are with us, you're safe. And so what one word could we call that cloth? And so some research to find, of course, something a little bit funky. We came up with the name Kikoi. And Kikoi is a type of fabric from the eastern part of Africa, colorful and bright and beautiful, like each and every one of us. All our different shades of melanin, all beautifully captured in the Kikoi. And so, I'm very proud to say, I'm not going to bore you with it, it's all in here, you can read all about it. Read all about it, is that how the way the song goes? But from here on, we are no more the Cultural Diversity Consortium. From today, we are Kikoi Connection. And indeed, through our Strengthening Communities grant, we're able to build on that. And we're going through some changes. Our website will be changing soon. I don't know if somebody can give us. So that's being built. It's going to look a lot more fabulous than that, but this is where we are at with it at the moment. So when we are ready to announce the launch dates, we will let you all know. So keep an eye on our socials for that. Kikora Connection is building on what we have begun. There's a long way to go. So you can see on here, we'll be featuring all of our partners from the big chat. And we hope to build more, deeper relationships with other partners. And we're hoping that with our grouping as well, we're looking at integrating with two other groups, the Indie Igbo group, and who are here, give us a wave, and the Ghana Union as well. So there, the Ghana Union, hello, hi. So we're going to be growing, and then we're going to be growing a membership base as well. So please join the membership base, volunteer your time. So all of that is going to be on the website for you, how you can take action, resources that you can download as well, and really build on that business community as well, because economic empowerment is really important and valuable to our communities. And so, this is the future that we have planned for us. And I truly hope that you can share in that vision with us. It hasn't been an easy road, but is anything good ever easy? No. You must tire so that the gains are sweet. May God, who is always our guide, who is always our shield, who is always our strength, continue to be with us, the Kikoi Connection in Basingstoke, with you, our friends and allies and advocates and beyond. So thank you very much for being here with us.
Anytime I've been at an event with Effie, she always tried to steal my thunder. But I'm not going to let you go. I'll get mine back. Anyway, straight away we move into the award presentations, and we have 4 different categories of awards today. So we're going to be starting with the first categories, which is for the outstanding achievers. These are individuals who, within their profession, have made massive contribution in support of what Kikoi Connection is all about. I'd like to invite our Deputy Mayor, Councillor Dan Porty, to please come forward and help us with the presentation of the awards. Can you stand there, sir? Thank you. So, if you move a little bit, sorry. Take me your Kikoi. We've got a little recitation. And the first person today is our Mama of Basingstoke. Powerful, bold, and beautiful. Mama Grace Powell. I'm going to read the recitation. Grace, don't cry, okay? Relax. We all love you. In recognition of your outstanding commitment to fostering inclusivity and justice, your invaluable contributions to the Basingstoke Caribbean Society and Friends, and Black History Month Basingstoke, and its impact on the Basingstoke community stands as a testament to your enduring legacy. You have shared your knowledge in schools and curated insightful events, notably spearheading impactful Black History Month and Windrush. You are recognized as a community achiever and an unsung hero. Your visionary leadership and advocacy were pivotal in the meaningful commemoration of the 75th Windrush anniversary, solidifying your position as a beacon of resilience and community welfare. Can you do the honor, sir? Certificate of this.
You look here? Yeah. So just here. Thank you. That's good. That's nice. Thank you.
Our next outstanding achiever for the evening, Anthony Bravo, the principal. Anthony Bravo has done an amazing thing, as we all know. We all know he's always going to pull one off. Excellent. In recognition of your distinguished role as principal at Basingstoke College of Technology since 2009. Wow. You have exemplified visionary leadership, fostering an inclusive learning environment through transformative initiatives. Notably, your dedication to securing funding for groundbreaking projects, including the Black Leadership Center and online NVQS, showed your commitment to equitable education from learners from all backgrounds. Your proactive engagement within the college and broader community has significantly enhanced BCOT's role as a hub for community development and cohesion, solidifying its reputation as a pivotal force for progress. Your tireless commitment to anti-racism has been instrumental, and you've earned the prestigious College of Sanctuary status, a testament to your commitment to creating a nurturing and supporting space for all. Your enduring contribution have positioned you as an inspirational figure, leaving an indelible mark on educational community and beyond.
Before I came up, Effie asked me if I could say a few words, so I have to say a few words. First of all, I want to thank you all for the recognition, and as many of you know, I'm really proud and privileged to be the principal of Basingstoke College of Technology. I am painfully aware of what a role model I am, and that is a very difficult path to walk sometimes. But I do have a belief in this town, when we work together, we can achieve absolutely anything. And I have to publicly congratulate people like the Black Success Initiative, who have actually done so much for making a difference. I'm really proud to be part of this town. And the reason is, as a black person, I can come here and be successful. I have been successful. Many of you don't know what the biggest complaint in this town is, other than kids playing football against walls. But the biggest complaint in this town is the binman not putting the bins back in the right place. All right? When that is your biggest issue, you know we're in a really, really good place. Crime has not really arrived from London yet, so we are really blessed and we need to be really grateful. People are not as grateful as they should be in this town. And I have to say, I looked at all the people in the front row who I know well from different worlds, and I have to thank them for making this a really, really great place. To you young people over there, I need you to understand that absolutely anything is possible. If you have a dream, you won't believe this. I was born in London, but I came back to Hampshire when I was 3 years old, right? And when I was 6, I still could not even write my own name at 6 years old. So if at 6, I couldn't write my own name and I got to the position I'm in now, you all could write your names at that age. So you could get much further than I ever did. So you must have dreams and follow them, and they can come absolutely true, I promise you. Anything is possible. And I did like the bit about Lagos, because I was in Lagos when I was little, and so I'll keep that going on. I would say to young people, and anybody else in this room, artificial intelligence. Do be afraid, but take advantage of it. It is a tool for us all to use, so please make sure we do that. This award is recognition for the courage the college showed 14 years ago in appointing a black person to a really high-profile job. I did get a few, the governors, I should say, got a few letters saying all terrible things about me, but they did stick with me, and I thank them for doing that. And it's a recognition of the staff and the students of this college, which make it great. The fact that they are actively being anti-racist, when they don't need to be, but they're actively going out about that, and as they've already mentioned, the College of Sanctuary. I also have to thank Yana and Max, because without my family, and most of you know nothing is possible without family, and that's the purpose for doing everything. And as it has been said, our thoughts have to be with what's going on in the Middle East. In particular, we have to pray for peace, because peace is really needed there. Thank you all very much indeed for this honour. God bless.
Can you write your name now? And last but not the least, outstanding achiever for the evening, Jane Holmes Morris. Jane, in recognition of your exceptional contributions to the field of nursing, arriving in Basingstoke in 1962, you set the stage for an illustrious career that spanned decades. From your early days as a trainee nurse to your esteemed role as ward sister and the head of King Alfred College and Basingstoke School, you navigated challenges with unparalleled determination and linguistic prowess. Your commitment to education and community welfare extended far beyond professional boundaries, as evidenced by your pivotal role in the establishment of a thriving dementia care club in Viables. A cherished mentor and advocate, your enduring legacy remains etched in the heart of Basingstoke community as a plaque is raised in your honor.
today at the unveiling of the plaque. But thank you very much. I'd also like to say I've had a wonderful career. There have been challenges along the way. There have been obstacles too. But through God's grace, I was able to overcome them. What I'd like to leave with you tonight is one of my favorite verses from the Bible. It's from the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 29. The prophet told his people that God said, I have a plan for you, a plan for good and not for evil. I am so thankful that that plan has really worked out for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay. The next round of clapping will begin soon. Within our communities, we just recognize and acknowledge people who, within their professions, within their various communities, they've had a massive positive impact to the well-being of people and, the promotion of social welfare within our community. But beyond that, there are also individuals who on a daily basis, in their various capacity, be it volunteering or helping, people to settle within Basingstoke on arrival into the town, or being a mentor or anything you can think of, which helps to promote community cohesion and strengthen social networks. We have people like that in Basingstoke, and without them, our town will not be as lovely as it is today. So I have the pleasure to unveil these individuals from our community who have contributed massively in one way, shape, or form to the advocacy of creating a better Basingstoke for all of us. May I invite one of our previous community achievers, Poonam Gurung, to come and help present the awards. Omiko Oji, if you're here, please come forward. Sean Harris, can you get ready, please? Sean Harris. Mahita Vakacha. Apologies if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. Jennifer Campbell. Savannah Nightingale. Charlotte Nightingale. Adekunbi Ayo Okolawon.
One more. Sorry, we can just try and get it. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Geminat Uluwatoyin Abdulsalam. Tiana Reese.
See if it's going to go a little bit better. There we go. So we know who's won it. Good. That's good there. And one more. Thank you.
Tejas Jordan. Sorry, I didn't get your name correct. Dr. Aubrey Alexis. Sylvia Obadaki. Sapphire Semper. Ezekiel Osudina. Yvonne Reedgard. Sylvie Boma. Prakash Kode. Vanessa Mason. Vanessa, please. Foluke Atolagbe. Farouk Halassan. And last but not the least, David Domfo. The man came prepared. So very quickly, we move to the next round of awards tonight. May I invite our MP, Maria Miller, to help do the honors. Beryl Joseph. Effie Blanksey.
Sorry, it's because you're stood in the green light. I don't think we can move you. So we can. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I tell you what, if we shuffle you across this bit, you're in trouble. Still green. Still green. Right, okay, let's get there. And then one more.
Clarice Angafo. Jane Holmes Morris. Grace Powell. Zaliha Pariso. Mara Makunara. Mara is the deputy mayor of Rushmore Council. Avanil Fafran. Charlotte Nightingale. Gloria Kwa.
That's my Ghana sister.
Annette Logan. Ivadne Kibo. Millicent Hoyton. Adenike Victoria Obey. Bridget Mancho. Veronica Simmons. last but not the least, Benedict Diana Pickett. We have the kids from St. Bede's. We have 4 lovely kids who are going to give us individual performances tonight. And the first on our list is Adana Eze. A round of applause for Adana. Adana plays saxophone, and today what she's going to play is When the Saints Go Marching In. There you go. That was amazing. Adana is 9 years, and she's been playing saxophone for 18 months. And she enjoys playing it with her brothers, and her brothers do play saxophone as well. And she's from St. Bede's School in Popley. So a round of applause for Adana. So, the next person is Daniel Bishiriyu. Daniel is 10 years old and has been playing the flute for 3 years plus. And he plays it because he enjoys music. And the title of the tune he just played is Catwalk by Palm Wedgwood. So a round of applause for Daniel. Next is Maximina Adomarco. Maximina is 10 years old. She's been playing, she likes playing violin, and she's been playing for 2 years. And the reason she plays violin is for self-discipline, personal growth, and to increase her confidence in her everyday life. And she just performed Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. So a round of applause for Maximina. Last but not the least, we've got another saxophonist, Kachi Ekechukwu. Kachi is 9 years old. He enjoys playing saxophone because he loves the tune. He's been playing for 2 years, and the title of the tune is he just played a Study in C by Henry Lazarus. A round of applause for Kachi. In appreciation of your contribution to Black History Month, Basingstoke 2023, Kikoi Connection, a lot of you know us as Cultural Diversity Consortium, we've got a little appreciation certificate for you. So if you don't mind, can you please come forward and pick up your certificate? May I call on Kishore, who is a strong community advocate, big member of Basingstoke in the society, of course, also their former chair, who has been pivotal to the growth of Basingstoke in the society, to come and present the certificate to the kids. This way, please. Go.
Come forward, come forward, don't be shy.
Don't be shy, come forward.
Just wait to me. Move that way. Not all of you though, you go move backwards. So imagine, it's a line like across there.
Go backward. Yeah.
Just move. Just right on your face. There we go.
Right. Lovely. All smile.
This one is going.
Yeah, smile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look in this way.
Thank you very much.
Another award. And of course, this Champions Award. And it goes to Amshal Cultural Trust. And this is for their contribution to fostering diversity, equity, and inclusion in our community. May I have the representative from Amshal Cultural Trust to please come forward for the award. As far as
Well, I haven't been given a mic, so I'm going to assume it's because of my voice. Okay.
The Champions Award 2023 is presented to Amshal Cultural Trust. And this is in recognition of your exceptional commitment to diversity, inclusion, and equity, fostering a sense of belongings for all. Your contribution enriched Basingstoke history, preserving authentic Black stories and highlighting our community's remarkable contribution.
I've been asked to say a few words because this was a tremendous journey with ourselves and yourselves. And sometimes we see the end result and no one recognizes what was before and what it took. And tonight, I would like to just tell you something about our journey. It began from a small idea from our chair. I say small. And wonderfully, you said, oh, why not? We can do that. We can do this. And so from that small idea, we got down to the fact of the Windrush. And it was about a big ship or a boat.
I remember it well.
Yeah.
A really big ship.
And we journeyed together, and it was about it evolved wonderfully into saying, well, what about those who were on the boat or on a plane, or how did they get here? What is the story behind what we hear and what we know? And that was embraced by yourselves. And I have to say, some of the wonderful sisters who you saw come up here today participated in that. And it was about their trust. Tara's not up here. In Tara and Talitha with their story. And it's about the putting of their story in such wonderful words and putting it up there and not losing who they were and actually telling the story of how we came. And we are grateful for that. And I think it sets a precedence. I've been around and know of many other towns that have done similar, but I think ours was exceptional. And it became more exceptional because it was personal. It had the personal touch of very real stories and our real journey. And for that, we are grateful. A precedent has been set. A mark has been set out there that we were invited, we came, and we contributed. Thank you very much.
I'll use this one. Well, thank you very much. My name's Paul. I'm the Chief Executive at Hampshire Cultural Trust. It's quite overwhelming, really, to receive this award. I can't tell you how much it means to all of us at Hampshire Cultural Trust, and to me personally. You know, if you're a regional museum and gallery organisation, you really want to get a good balance between bringing national stories and history from elsewhere and art from elsewhere into a town to showcase it for local people, and a balance with showcasing the creative talent and the history of the communities that you serve. And if you get that balance right, then I think you do it well. And here was an exhibition which I think you'll agree meets both of those criteria. It's a really, really important national story, and a chance for us to tell the contribution and that story in the locality. When I met Effie and Grace and they shared their considerable ambition for this exhibition, it was a very big ship. I think it was touring at one point as well. I think you'll know I was excited and intimidated in equal measure. You know, how could we ever deliver something? You know, the responsibility of delivering something that does justice to this critical part of our national history and to the people who lived it and contributed so much here in Basingstoke. And of course, once you've met Effie and Grace, meeting their expectations as well. It was quite a thing to take on. Fortunately, I'm lucky to work for an organisation where we have a really fantastic team. And as you know, Tara and Tabitha took the mantle of that in planning the exhibition and delivering it, with support from the venue and people right across the trust. Tara's actually moved on from the organisation now. She's doing a PhD, and which is brilliant for her. And Tabitha sadly can't be with us tonight. So it has been a real privilege at every level. But I thought I'd just share some of the words that Tara actually said in the press release for this exhibition. She said, "It has been a privilege to work with Basingstoke's Windrush community. They've welcomed us into their lives and shared powerful testimonies, which has been both emotional and uplifting. Understanding their personal struggles and yet witnessing their generosity to this community has been nothing short of humbling." And I think all of us at Hampshire Cultural Trust can say hear to that. We feel an immense sense of responsibility to respectfully reveal this shared history and celebrate the remarkable achievements and contribution of the Windrush generation on this special anniversary. And to know that we did well for you means everything to all of us. Thank you so much for this award tonight.
We've got a final award tonight. I'll call it the new award. I think at this point I'll call on Effie to talk about the award.
Okay. Hello, it's only me again. Just before I go on to this, I'll say when I had the first conversation about this ship/boat, which, yes, was supposed to be touring with a team. Actually, the conversation began with Kishore, who sort of planted a little seed there, and I was like, let's go bigger, we can do this. And then I had a conversation with the then leader, Councillor Simon Bound, and I remember his reaction was, okay, I think you should talk to the Cultural Trust. And then it began. And we're so grateful for how the stories have been so beautifully told. And yes, it's something that we can build on from there. So, to the new award. Like my typical self, I'm always trying to come up with new ideas. But this new award came about because I felt very strongly that as chair, as a leader, you always have support. There are some who really are the roots of that support, of that tree that, keeps delivering those fruits for you. And so who is the chairman's greatest advocate and ally and champion? Who is the one person who listens, who mentors as well, and who coaches, who takes all of her nonsense as well and helps her to shape and build something better and stronger? There's always that one person who stands tall. And so this new category we're calling the Chairman's Award. And so the Chairman's Award will year on year recognize one person who the chairman chooses has been all of that support for him or her. And so my very first, I'm sure unsurprising, is Islam. Now, Islam had no clue about this, and so you can tell how sad I was when he said to me this afternoon that he was unable to make it. I was very sad indeed. And over the last 3 years, I don't know how many meetings I've had with Islam. He's always a joy. And like I said, I can take some of the silliest things to Islam, and he will pause, he will think very carefully, and he will navigate and steer my silly head into what can be and how we can improve. And I'm always very cheeky with him. He's been like a big brother, a mentor as well. And his heart is truly that position that he is, fostering collective growth. And with every conversation, he's always advocating for how do you bring everybody else to the table? Yes, we are Black people, we are advocating for our communities, but Islam's message continues always to be, how are we integrating with everybody else? Where is the collective growth? Where is the mutual benefit? And so although he's not here, and he promised me he was going to be watching the live stream, so Islam, if you're watching, I'm so thankful for all your support that you have given me and the team at Kikoi Connection. We really appreciate you. And especially at this time as well, where we're advocating for peace, we know you're thinking about your family. Our hearts go out to all the families who are in the position as you are. And so he's not here, but his colleagues have kindly agreed to take this on his behalf. And so may I kindly ask Ross and where's Jade? Ah, there you are. To kindly take this on behalf of our Islam. I don't know whether I should read this or not. Can you hear me okay? Okay. So, Islam, Jalaita, your dedication as an esteemed equality, diversity and inclusion officer at Basingstoke and Dean Borough Council is truly commendable. Your readiness to provide insightful advice and, more importantly, your empathetic listening skills have shown a deep understanding of community dynamics and the importance of fostering unity. Your pivotal role in enabling the formation and nurturing of the Cultural Diversity Consortium, now Kikoi Connection, has been instrumental in fostering collective growth and mutual benefit, which you have consistently championed. You remain a dependable ally and mentor, and I'm deeply grateful for your enduring support.
Right, okay. Just hold the. There we go. Okay, that's nice there. Have one more. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I'm just going to say a few words on behalf of Islam. And it's unfortunate that he isn't here today, but I know how important today is for him and this whole month as a whole. And I feel like it has been a long 18 years with Islam working at the council, fostering and advocating for EDI, equality, diversity, inclusion. And he will be so happy to see the action the community, the council, as well as our organisations in the borough are taking to address inequality in the borough and continue celebrating diversity. And we look forward to doing more in the future. But yeah, and I say thank you everyone for being here and your ongoing efforts.
That's the end of the awards for this evening. We'll now move to the big chart. Right. A lot of people might be wondering what the big chart is. As a group, we recognize that we cannot be in isolation. We recognize the need of, working in partnership with various groups within our communities, the councils, and the health sector, the policing, the education. We recognize the need of coming together to have a grown-up dialogue and potentially, come up with solutions that can make our lovely town an enjoyable place for everyone. When we started this group, we've had various difficult conversations, with people from various walks of life within our civic society. And from those difficult conversations, we've had a lot of positive outcomes. And we are pleased to say that the journey has been progressive. And this evening, the next part really, which sort of sums up why we're here today, is to have a big chat where we are going to invite various leaders to talk about where we've been coming from, what we've been doing, and what the future looks like. Our first speaker for this evening is the Cabinet Member for Communities, Partnership and Inclusion, Councillor John Markey.
Let me just say, I feel absolutely humbled to be on the stage after we've talked about Islam, because I know every word I heard was true. He's an absolute gentleman, and every time I meet him, in fact every day, I think about the title in my portfolio, Communities, Partnerships and Inclusion, and I'm reminded that inclusion is the most important of those three words, because how do we build strong communities and effective partnerships if we don't include? And to exclude is the route to failure. That's the way that we can't go. I'm absolutely delighted to represent Basingstoke and Dean Borough Council, and I know across the chamber we're delighted to support the Black History Month and the awards tonight, and to be at the birth of Kikoi Connection is an extra privilege. I want you to know that we see Black History Month as a journey. The month ends tomorrow, but Black History Month, Black history absolutely does not. And as these awards have shown tonight, they start with stories. We recall stories, we recover things from history. And in that recovery, that's when we can recognise where there's been achievement, and we can celebrate that achievement. And most importantly, we can inspire others to emulate, to follow, to grow in ways that perhaps their forebears weren't allowed to because of the way society's been in the past. The word inspire, the kids tonight playing the music, absolutely joyful. They're an inspiration, absolutely great. And as was said with the first speaker tonight, I also moved to Basingstoke and I find it's a place I absolutely love. I'd like to say that words are not just enough, and there needs to be actions as well. And I'll cite a couple of examples. We're working on an idea brought forward by Kikoi Connections for a mural representing the black contribution to the history of the town. And there's a very good example in a city not so far away from here that I happen to visit quite regularly. And they have a mural, and every time I walk past it, I'm inspired in the way that it's a quality piece of art that brings together the history of the town and the contribution of the communities that have been part of that city. And I want Basingstoke to have something as powerful as that, and I want to make that happen. We talked about the Windrush exhibition earlier. I visited that and it was fantastic, and I have another art exhibition in mind that I'd really like to come to Basingstoke to fit in with the Black History Month and the project to include in a greater way. Hampshire Cultural Trust are here. If officers haven't spoken to you already, please grab me after this, because I want to do a little bit of a sales job on you to make something happen beyond the end of this month, to get across the point that this is a journey that we're all on together. I'm proud to be on that journey. The council is absolutely with you on that journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor John Markey. Our next speaker for the evening is Alex Whitfield. Alex Whitfield is the CEO of Hampshire Hospitals.
Thank you very much, and I likewise feel really privileged to be here. After that amazing music, I really wanted to say, hallelujah, hallelujah. It's wonderful, isn't it, to be here? So, thank you. So, we've been asked just to say for 5 minutes. I could talk for an hour and a half about all of this, so I'll try and keep it short. Our ambition at Hampshire Hospitals is to be a place where everyone belongs, where we all belong. And I think we're really making progress. We're not there yet, but I just wanted to share a few things from maybe the last year, and as you said, a little bit about the future as well. So the first thing I want to mention, and I know I've talked about this before at Big Chats, is our mentoring programme. Because it means so much to me. So can I count this as a little kikoi or not? A little bit of fabric? This was a gift from my first mentor, Rita, who's an OT who came here from Zimbabwe, came to the UK a long time ago. And what I really learned from her was that we don't recognise people's previous experience very well in the NHS. So she became an OT, having been in the UK for a long time, done lots of jobs, multiple jobs at the same time often. And yet when she first qualified as an OT, we treated her like a newly qualified and actually she'd got all this years of life experience. In the audience, Courage is my current reverse mentor. He came to the UK just 4 or 5 years ago now. And we've been talking a lot about internationally educated nurses and how we create a place where someone who's trained in another culture, another environment, can really thrive and develop and progress their careers here in Basingstoke, here in Hampshire. So thank you, Courage, for all you've taught me as well. We've got some other reverse mentors. We've got Toyin and Vanessa. And I do want to call out Vanessa because one of the things we've done, there you are, Vanessa. One of the things we've done this year is thanks to Vanessa, who championed for a change to our adoption policy so that she could adopt the orphaned nephew, her orphaned nephew from Zambia, and bring him to the UK. And it turns out NHS national policy doesn't recognise overseas kinship adoption, doesn't give you adoption leave, doesn't support you in any way. But Vanessa managed to champion it here at Hampshire Hospitals, and we have managed to change our policy here, and I am now fighting really hard to get it changed across the UK because it feels totally wrong that you wouldn't get the same amount of support in that situation. So, yeah. Getting on? Well, it may or may not surprise you to know that 28% of our colleagues here at Hampshire Hospitals are from the global majority. 28, nearly a third of people who care for the people of Hampshire are either black, British, or have come from overseas where they trained in order to look after our people. I mean, that is amazing. What I want to do is make sure that is reflected in our senior management cadre, because at the moment it isn't. Now, if we go back 3 years, for the NHS people, band 7, for other people, sort of senior middle management and upwards, it was about 10% from the global majority. We're now at 13.5%. That's really good progress, but it means it'll take a decade to reach equality. And that bothers me a lot, because we need to get to 28%. We need to be representative of our workforce, and that's what we're trying to do. And we've got lots of work going on around recruitment panels and inclusivity and supporting leadership development programs for people from across our workforce, so that people can really live their potential, climb that career ladder, be stood here and stood around our exec tables. So that's what we're trying to do. We're also trying to do things for our patients. There's been some brilliant work in maternity going on recently. And it's only when you talk to black mums about what's important to them, I mean, this sounds obvious, doesn't it, that you realise that some cultures, eating particular meals after you've had a baby is really important. Turns out our maternity department go, well, here's the hospital menu, And actually, we've managed to say, no, if people want to bring in their own foods, their own, actually, that we should support that. It's really simple. Lots of other things happening in maternity. So, as I say, I could talk for way too long. The future, what does the future hold? Well, the first thing I want to say, and I can see Penang, and it was lovely, where's she got over there? She's helping us with some really tricky things that are going on. And I think one of the things that the future will hold is we will uncover, I would say maybe awful things that are happening in our hospitals, because we are trying to create an environment where people can tell us when it's going wrong. And I know that there are people who haven't felt they can tell us in the past. And so I fear that some of the future will be uncovering things. And it might feel like things have got worse, but actually we're outing it and we can deal with it. So that, I think, will happen. But I also hope lots of positive things will happen, and we will really enable Hampshire hospitals to be a place where absolutely everybody can belong, everyone can live their potential, and we can all thrive together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex, and your team for all the wonderful work you've been doing for Hampshire Hospital. Our next speaker for the evening is the District Commander, Chief Inspector Scott Johnson.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Effie, for the invitation to this evening. It's a privilege to be here. I joined the police service in 1997, just weeks after Jack Straw, the then Home Secretary, announced there'd been an inquiry into the investigation of the murder of Stephen Lawrence 4 years earlier. That report was published 2 years later as I finished my probationary training, and it had a fundamental impact on policing and the confidence that people had in policing. And I thought all those years ago that things needed to improve. It's not good enough to point the finger at London and suggest that societal issues are not experienced in the same way elsewhere. There's a saying in policing, when the Metropolitan Police sneezes, the rest of policing catches a cold. That's very true. Now all police officers, it made me reflect, all officers when we join, we swear an oath on our appointment. It reads, I do solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will well and truly serve the King in the office of Constable, with fairness, integrity, diligence and impartiality, upholding fundamental human rights and according equal respect to all people. And sometimes, for all the complexities and the challenges of modern policing, reflecting on the very, very basics serves officers well. And the service has seen tremendous developments in my own police service. It looks today very different to the one that I joined. I've walked a beat with an officer, a female officer, who was joined and served in the women's department. And when I joined, the female officers were all branded as WPCs. And I speak to my young recruits today, and they all do seem very young to me. And they look at me like I'm some old dinosaur. It wasn't that long ago. There's far greater representation from our black and minority communities, of female officers from our LGBT plus communities, from different religions. Disabilities are recognised. Neurodiversity and non-visible difference is understood, and staff are better supported. But it's not a box-ticking exercise. My job as your district commander, it's not about being a senior police leader, it's about being a public sector leader. Now our police college published a paper about the future operating environment, and it said, how can policing harness the skills, the expertise and the resources that exist within its broader ecosystem of partners? And as I look around this theatre this evening, I consider myself incredibly privileged to have such an exceptional ecosystem of partners that my policing teams work with week in, week out. I'd like to highlight the Stop and Search Advocacy Scheme. I can see Catherine back somewhere. The brilliant work that's gone on in our schools and colleges to give young people a voice if they have any questions or concerns about any street encounter with police officers. That scrutiny is welcomed. It's an opportunity to give explanations away from the pressures that might be present in a public space. And importantly, it's an opportunity to learn how we improve what we do. Equally, our independent advisory groups look really closely at our wider stop and search activity and rightly seek to understand the basis for that activity and the outcomes that it achieves. And I'm really delighted to be joined by my colleague Zaliha this evening, who you saw get an award earlier. It's been a pleasure supporting Zaliha, supporting community engagement and recruitment opportunities wherever we can. To police with consent and with the trust and confidence of the public we serve, a police service has to be representative of its communities. Robert Peel famously said, the police are the public and the public are the police. So Hila's work really supports this, so it's lovely to see her receive her award this evening. There's still much more to do, and there always will be. A police service cannot be complacent in how we deliver policing or how we listen to those that we serve. But when I look at the breadth of the groups here this evening, the passion that they bring and the will to get together and discuss issues, I'm incredibly proud to be part of Team Basingstoke. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker for this evening is Catherine Redgrave. Catherine is the Hampshire County Council School Improvement Manager.
Good evening. I'm the School Improvement Manager for Basingstoke and Dean primary schools, and actually while I've been sitting there applauding and just really enjoying this evening, one of the things I've realised is that I am just coming up to my 30th anniversary. January 1994, I started as a new teacher in Basingstoke. So my entire teaching career has been based in Basingstoke. I was a new teacher here, I was a head teacher here, I've been a school improvement officer for the last 13 years for schools in Basingstoke, and I am really committed to the schools in Basingstoke and the education. When Maria Miller did her inquiry 3 years ago now, wasn't it? And I was asked to take on some of the challenges that came from that inquiry that sat with schools. That was a real privilege to be asked to take that on. There were some really uncomfortable things that we had to face as a school system, and what we could do about that and how we could move it forward. I found the last 2.5 years working with the schools around what we call the Basingstoke and Dean Inclusion and Diversity Partnership really rewarding. I think one of the things that has been most rewarding is that my engagement and my opportunity to work with the communities in Basingstoke. I'm looking around and I can recognise many of the people. Keisha I know really well, Grace I've met, Effie I've got to know. Many of you I've worked with now for a couple of years. Islam is just absolutely superb. I think that I'm so pleased you've given him your chairman's award, because Islam has been so strong at promoting that link between schools and the community groups that they serve, and so that's been a real reward. And one of the other things that's come from the Basingstoke and Dean Inclusion and Diversity Partnership is actually the resources that we've put together working with the schools, self-evaluation toolkit so that schools can really look at how they're working with communities and how they're reaching out and enabling young people to have a voice. The curriculum work that we've been doing over the last year, I say we, that's other people that have been doing it for me, which has been brilliant. That's been a really significant piece of work as well. And those are being rolled out across the whole of the County Council. I've got Minnie, who's one of my colleagues up there. She does an absolutely sterling job in all of the districts across the whole of the council and on the Isle of Wight as well. And those partnerships now are really growing. There's a group that Minnie has been running called the ERA Group, which is the Equality and Rights Advocates. Yeah. They are young people who in schools come together, and it's their voice, they explore and they advocate for diversity and the equality and rights. And she's been doing that for, 15 years probably, is it, Minnie? 10 years. But with secondary schools growing into primary, and I said I want Basingstoke primaries to have their own equality and rights group. So she started running it just in Basingstoke, doing some other ones across the whole county. But the Basingstoke ones, we've got 9 primary schools signed up to it. She's then now rolling that out across the whole of so Basingstoke, she's now saying 12 have now signed up for Basingstoke, but you've actually got about 50, I think, isn't it, now across the whole of the county, which is brilliant. 63, there you go, half the press. So the work that has been going on in Basingstoke is rolling out across the county and is really making a difference. We're starting to see some of that impact. Basingstoke, we're bucking the trend. When we started this piece of work, this partnership, approximately just over 50% of schools had a nil response for racist incidents that year. Last year, well, we haven't got the current data, but the last set of data that we've got, it was about only a third. So that real noticing, which I think was what you were saying, Alex, was if we don't know about it, we can't tackle it. So we are seeing schools really recognising and picking that up. And actually now, at the time, there was something like a third of schools had never had any responses. Now it's only 5 schools, I think, that have never had any racist incidents. So that's really moved forward. We've seen the stop and search advocates, which Scott was talking about, which is just brilliant. Again, young people, their voice has been heard, and that piece of work that Catherine's been doing with the police and getting the advocates into all the secondary schools and the colleges, it has been just superb. Going forward, one of the challenges in the inquiry was around the staffing, actually, and the lack of representation in staffing. Now, Basingstoke has got over 20% of the district is from non-white and ethnic minorities, and that is not represented in the staff in the schools. It's something about 4%. And in fact, Tice, it's brilliant to see Tice here because he speaks so eloquently about his experience in the school. And what we want to do is capture the voices and the stories and roll that out so that we can actually show people who want to start teaching in Hampshire, then in Basingstoke, this is a place that you can come. These are schools where you will feel part of a community and you will be safe and enjoy working here. So we're really looking to do that, and we're about to have a county staff meeting where we're going to invite schools to log in to a staff meeting and do an inclusion and diversity staff meeting for the whole of the county, and that's going to be in January. So it's the keeping the momentum going. That's where we're going next, and it's focusing on the staff and developing staff. So that's where we are.
Thank you very much, Catherine, for all you're doing for the schools. Our next speaker for the evening is Alena Okatia from Hampshire FA. Alena, please.
Sorry, I sat as far away from the stage as possible. So my name is Ali, I come from France. I've been living in Basingstoke for about almost 3 years now. And I work with Hampshire FA, so that's the regional football association. They're the regulator for football in the county. So they work with the grassroots level, coaches, referees, volunteers within the game, and also professional game. Within my role as the EDI officer, I lead within the county on everything that's like inclusion related. Within football, that also includes so all the workforce that we have, our own individual workforce within our company, and also growing the game. So that means getting more players, more coaches, more referees, more volunteers from loads of different backgrounds to enjoy the game. For the last year, so I guess I'm going to start with what we've done in the past. So Sport England regulates sports activity in England, and they have a qualification that we need to pass, which is called the Equality Standard. It's a massive piece of work that we successfully achieved in May. It took us about 2 years to get there, and it was a great acknowledgement of all the efforts that we had done to embed EDI within our company and the wider football community. So for this, we had to create an equality strategy action plan, which is overseen by the board of director and our inclusion advisory group. We also had to do a big overview of our recruitment policies and practices to ensure that there was no unconscious biases, that everything was fair and inclusive, and also that it was standardized across the board, whether you're coming in as a seasonal staff, a facility staff, a full-time staff or a board member, we want to make sure that everyone's recruited on the same basis. For the first time in a very long time, we had data on who actually is involved within football in the county, which, as you can imagine, people are fans of completing surveys. So that was a big step for us, actually knowing who enjoys football in the county. And we were able to compile that data with the census data and our internal data. And we were actually, for the first time, able to realize what gap we have and where we're at. Pretty sure, as all the other companies who've spoken before me, there's still a big gap between where we are and where we want to be. And that's our main priority for next year, because we're entering the end of our strategy and we're going to start doing the consultational work for the next 4-year strategy. We want to have metrics on how we get there. How do we get at a space where our board of directors is representative of not just Basingstoke, but Hampshire in general, and also representative of what our football community looks like. And finally, we also had to do a lot of work around EDI training for our workforce. How do we ensure that every single level of the game, people know about inclusion, diversity, and equality, and they know how within their role they can support the people. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but I thought I would highlight a few projects that we have developed this year and we're going to be delivering in the next few months. Because all those projects came from the data and the insights that we had, and it was the first time that we really were able to target specific projects across the county. And I also picked the ones that I thought would be the most relevant to this group. So there's a great organization called Show Racism the Red Card. They're a national organization who go to schools and provide training that is accessible to children on what racism is, and they do it specifically within the sport environment. We have a Hampshire FA Football Academy for students, and we have been selected to do a trial for a workshop with our academy, so we're very happy, and I think it's going to take place sometime in November. And it's going to be a great experience for our students. The other thing that we're doing is within Match Official, there's a lack of representation across the board from South Asian, Black, British, Caribbean, and African individuals. With the support of the FA, we're going to be running 2 referee courses, heavily discounted, to get a lot more referees within the game. It's going to be open to males and females, so if you know anyone from these communities who is interested to be a referee, you do get paid for it. Please get in touch with me and I'll get you on the course. A lot of people have been talking about religion today. We know that's a big part of football as well, and we want to make sure that we interact with faith communities and faith leaders, because they do have a space in football. So we've been launching the Hope Tournament, which uses the power of football to bring people of different faith and communities together. We hosted that first interfaith tournament in July, and we had about 40 people there, including non-believers, which I thought was a great show of allyship. And we're going to be hosting a few more tournaments in spring and summer, and it would be great to have teams from Basingstoke. And finally, and I think today's theme was around saluting sisters, so I thought it was a good thing to end with. We are launching new projects across Hampshire, and we're going to have the first one starting in Basingstoke to get women age 55 plus active, and we're going to be using walking football as a tool to increase their confidence and skills so that they can eventually either create their own club or join existing clubs. And we have a specific target to work with ethnically diverse communities. And we already have a few sessions planned to engage Nepalese women in Farnborough and Black, British, Caribbean and African women in Portsmouth. And I would love to do something with local communities in Basingstoke. So again, if you want to try something new and do walking football, please get in touch with me. I'll be outside with the registration.
Thank you very much, Ali. Our next speaker for the evening is the leader of Basingstoke Conservative Party Group, in the person of Councillor Simon
Thank you very much, Nsima. I was the leader of the council up until May of this year. And I thought, well, I've been asked to speak, what should I speak about? And I do lots of other things, not only in our council, but actually outside in other councils. And I happened to be working for the Local Government Association this weekend, and they were having one of their longest standing events, which is the Councillor Development Weekend for councillors from black and minority ethnic groups. And the LGA is really proud of this event because it's been running for 16 years. So, like all good things with councillors, lots of conversations happen in the bar afterwards. So I had a conversation. I said, well, what happens in your communities? Does an event like this happen? What did you do for Black History Month? Have you done the great Windrush exhibition with Hampshire Cultural Trust? Have you done something like that locally in your communities? Have you done something like the 21 Portraits Project? And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because actually I think naturally councils are very competitive, elections are like that, but we're also very competitive inter-council. And I don't think it'll come as any surprise that a lot of those councillors came from London boroughs, they came from large cities, and do you know what? They are probably ahead of the game when it comes to elected representatives sitting on the council coming from more diverse communities. They are not ahead of the game when it comes to the things that the organisation formerly known as CDC has done. And I thought, well, what is that? What does that do? Sometimes it can be a bit of a chicken and egg, can't it? And actually I thought, probably the biggest thing I can do this evening is thank all of those individuals in the CDC. We had many conversations that were difficult and challenging when the horrible, tragic incidents with George Floyd happened in America. And you have done amazing things. And I've had the portfolio for several years for partnerships, and we talked about the word partnerships, and it doesn't apply. What resonates with me is you've talked about saluting sisters, and I've heard about brothers, and I've heard about mamas, and I've heard about papas. And do you know what? Actually, I think what we have in Basingstoke is something that's much closer to family. My sister tells me the truth. My sister is honest with me. I cry with my sister. I laugh with my sister. She holds a mirror up to me, and when I'm feeling courageous, I hold a mirror up to her. Which doesn't happen very often. And that's what the CDC has done. We have operated as a council for a very long time in the space of partnerships. But what you have done with the Windrush exhibition, particularly, very personally for me, the 21 Portraits that happened in the Market Square, it meant you invited other communities, other individuals to join your family. You asked them to laugh with you. You asked them to cry with you. You stop and search. You shared with other communities your anxieties, your concerns. Maria's inquiry, as was said, it held a mirror up to us as a community, lots of those institutions, and you know what? We were all courageous enough to go, so what are we going to do about it? This isn't acceptable. There's a lot more to do, and I think we all know that. I love the rebirth of a new organisation. I also just finally want to say, when I found Islam in the council, it was an amazing moment of finding an oasis of somebody who I thought got it. And then I realised he got it more than I did. And then I realised Islam is brilliant at doing all the things that I'm sure we'd all like to do, but sometimes struggle to do, which is to say, this is about you. This is about what you can do, and I'm here to help you, assist you, and support you, and sometimes be the big brother, FE, that says, really? Or brilliant, go do it. You can do it even if you think that you can't. So I feel my role tonight is just to say thank you. Let's keep it real, because we've done a lot of that. Basingstoke is a wonderful family of communities, and I may upset some other community organisations, but
the organisation formerly known as CDC has shown that from 0 to 100%, and to demonstrate how you really do bringing individuals and families together, because that's what makes communities, that's how you do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Simon. Our next speaker for the evening is Councillor Paul Harvey, who is the independent group leader, but also the leader of the Basingstoke and Dean Borough Council.
Can I just say a huge thank you to you for comparing the evening this evening. It's absolutely brilliant and hugely well done. Absolutely brilliant. When Afi asked me to say a few words this evening, it brought a tremendous amount of thoughts to my mind of the conversations we've had in the past few months, because I had the privilege of following Simon to take over as leader of the council in May. And one of the very first things that happened to me was to be presented with three very powerful women and Keyshaw in a meeting. And I recognise that coming from a matriarchal family myself, and the power of that, and the power of your experience. And Grace, you are an absolute inspiration. I just need to say that. You really are an absolute inspiration. And your challenge to us was to be better, was to listen and understand what you were saying to us as a council, because we need to be better. We've done great things, and Simon's listed them, and there are many things that we have achieved with you thus far in this journey. But this is, for me, in the past few months, an eye-opener to where we need to go together and what we need to achieve together. So when I think about Basingstoke, and I came to Basingstoke like most of the people actually, when you think about our town and the nature of our town, from the London overspill to where we are today, and the changing face of Basingstoke, and how proud we are as a town that we welcome, embrace and grow together. That's who we are as Basingstoke and Dean, and we mustn't forget the and Dean bit either. We are a place which has so much opportunity for everybody. So I would love to have said, and I will say to the teachers, for those young people who joined us this evening, that it's right, the opportunity, the aspiration and the ambition that we want to have for them has to be everything we are, opening the door, holding it open to allow them to be the next generation that achieves everything we want and have done in our own lives. We have to have that empowerment for them to achieve the things we want to achieve, the very things you challenged me on, Grace, when we first met and spoke, and Effie too. I think also in terms of our priorities, we've said about celebrating diversity. We have said in the council plan, the plan that governs what we do, that one of our core priorities should be celebrating the diversity of Basingstoke. And that's good and that's important, but the council has to live up to it as well. And Simon's right. For many years, the council has not been representative of our communities. And I'm just going to call out Dan. Because Dan, you have been a councillor longer than I have, and I've been a councillor for nearly 22 years now, and you're coming around to be mayor again. But for many years, you were the representative of our minority communities. You stood there as somebody who represented the community, and you are amazing. And I just want to say that the council is changing. It isn't going fast enough, and we have a lot of work to do, in all parties, in all parts of the council, all parties and none, and I represent the non bit, to say, actually, we have a place for everybody, and we have to be representative if we're going to truly achieve what we want to do together. I think also the inspiration this afternoon, and Jean, I was crying this afternoon, just thinking about what you've done. My younger sister's a children's nurse, and I think about the training and what she went through, and I think about everybody you must have had a hand in helping to become a nurse, to give back as they do, as you do, and to have that recognition is so important. And just a huge thank you, and you are an inspiration, absolute inspiration, and thank you, because I was crying this afternoon just thinking about what you've done in your life to affect all those other people, those hundreds of people who you have set on their careers in their life to make a difference to our community. And it's really important, it's so important that we recognise that. So I was thinking of the ethos. What kind of sums all of this up? Where do we go from here? And I think for me, it's about learning together, about growing together, about sharing together. That's the lesson I'm taking from tonight. It's about understanding together. And as Effie said, it's about connecting together. That was really important. You had the words about vibrancy and inclusivity on your webpage. That has to be a guiding light in terms of our direction of travel in the next few years. So the past has been great. We've done a lot in the past, and here we are today. Everything that is my mind now of the council, that is with my colleagues, is about where we go from here and what we do together. And I'm going to do that with you together for as long as I'm leader of the council, for as long as we have a team at the authority as we do, and I'm grateful for John and the team. We will be with you, alongside you, championing you, and also doing everything that you have challenged us to do. And it was powerful standing on that Windrush flag raising day, because again, there were an awful lot of very powerful women that came, who were sitting here with us this evening. And you were an inspiration to us. And I really thank you for that, because you've taught us a tremendous amount. And I stand here humbled before you to say thank you for your lesson, and we're going to put it into good practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Paul R.V. Last, but of course by no means the least from our big chat, is our Honourable MP, Maria Miller.
Thank you, Nsima, and thank you, Effie, for putting me on last after such powerful speakers. What this evening I think has reminded us all is that all of our communities are made up of individuals, of people. And as community leaders, we've got to make sure that individuals get the opportunity to reach their potential, to be the best that they can be in life. And if they're not, then actually our community is not as strong as it should be. And that's why I really pay tribute to Effie and her team for all the work she's done over a number of years now in staging Black History Month and many other events as well, because it's giving people the opportunity to be at the table, to be part of the conversation, to build their confidence and to be part of the broader community. But I actually think it's our Chief of Police, Scott, who really put his finger on it when he reminded us of the police pledge, which is equal respect for all people. And I think if as a community we can have equal respect for all people, then everybody gains from that. And that is my belief. And a lot of the work that I do in Parliament is around that theme. But you have to work at it. It doesn't come as natural. You have to do all you can to make sure that your community keeps pace with its changing face, and nowhere more so than in Basingstoke. 50 years ago, we were a small market town of 20,000 people. We're now a very large town. We're actually the largest town in Hampshire, which I remind Hampshire County Council every possible opportunity I can. We've got 180,000 residents. We've changed. So what we do here to make sure people can reach their potential, to be their best, to contribute the most, must change as well. And when I took my heart in my hand in 2020 and went to Simon Minnesbound and said, I think we need to do something after George Floyd was murdered, because over my years of being an MP, I've seen racism in our town, probably in the same way as other MPs have seen racism in their town, but nobody had the courage to talk about it, because nobody really wants to talk about discrimination, because it may make them seem weak or that they're not coping with it. But that was an opportunity, and I would just like to put on record my thanks to Simon, my thanks to Effie, my thanks to the Bishop, and many others indeed who supported that move. And we did an inquiry, we put a mirror up to ourselves, and you know what? We found some things which were really, really uncomfortable. But what we did, unlike other communities, we did something about it. We didn't just do a report and put it on a shelf. We actually did a report and we acted. And the most action I had actually was from Hampshire County Council with Catherine Redgrave, who you saw earlier on, who took the remarks and the concerns that people had about the way They were treated in schools the way their children were treated in schools. And they took that and they acted, and they've put in place a programme now which they're rolling out along across the whole of Hampshire. So Hampshire didn't just sit down and say, well, we'll ignore that report, we'll ignore the uncomfortable facts. They acted. We also got the help of lots of other businesses in Basingstoke to sign up to the Business in the Community Anti-Racism Pledge, because a lot of the feedback that we had in that inquiry in 2020 was racism at work. People actually having the qualifications, which we heard from Alex, are so important and so plentiful in the people that come to our community, but they weren't getting the same opportunities as others. So we got businesses sensitised to that, and we're continuing to get people to sign up to the Business in the Community report. The hospital actually went out of their way to make sure that they responded to the issues of racism in the hospital with all of the things you've heard Alex talk about. The police, I have to say, did not come up a lot in our report because they're already doing things, mostly as a result of the sorts of things that Scott talked about in the Met Police. But one of the things that I felt very passionate about is if you don't have people sitting at the table making the decisions that represent your community, you're never going to get the decisions you need. So I've made it a personal priority to increase the number of our elected representatives from different ethnic minority groups in Basingstoke. Now, we've moved a long way. It's now not only Dan who is an elected councillor in Basingstoke, and we have a number of other people as well, and I'm really seeing progress there, but we do need more people to step forward. So whilst we've made a lot of progress, my challenge to you this evening is very simple. We need to make more. And we only make more progress if people get involved. And we're still yet to have a black councillor. We don't have a black councillor. I don't think so, Simon. No. And we have a number of people from the Asian community. We don't have a Nepalese councillor. So come on, get involved. This is usually what I'm saying is for the women to get involved and get elected, and a lot of you have heard that speech from me before. But today it really is making sure that we get more people involved. We need Hampshire County Council to recruit more teachers, more people like Tice Jordan and Anthony Bravo to be leaders in our schools. We need more people who are standing for election like Mara, who's from one of our neighbouring boroughs, who is Deputy Mayor at the moment, about to be Mayor. We need more people who are standing for election like Poonan Gurung, who's stood for election as well. But to get elected and to be there at the table, shaping the debate, shaping the services, making sure that we have a Basingstoke not just fit for now, but fit for the next 50 years as we continue to change and evolve. So take a look at that inquiry report we did in 2020. We still have a reference group that looks at those findings and really looks at the progress that's being made. In fact, we've got a meeting on Friday, and Alex's team is coming in to talk about maternal mortality in BAME groups, which is a really important issue, something the hospital's focused on a great deal. But we need to do more. We need to get more people elected from different groups across the town. If you're interested, there's lots of parties to choose from. Mine is only one. But you can speak to or none at all. You can speak to Paul about that. You've got opportunities here. You've got great teams of people. Get involved, make a difference, and make sure that our town is not only fighting fit now, but fighting fit for the future. Thank you.
Thanks very much to all our speakers for this evening. I think we'll all agree that there's power in togetherness, and all the achievements, all the all the beautiful things we've been talking about tonight, all the progress has only been made possible because we have people who decide to come together and take positive actions. Together, we are stronger. And a lot of appreciation, a lot of respect goes out to everyone here. It's actually courageous to be here this night. It takes courage to make a change. And on that note, everybody seated here is got so much appreciation for you, for deciding to make that positive step to make our town a truly amazing place for all of us to live in. On that note, we all agree that what if one of the worst things that can happen to anyone is to live in a place and don't feel safe. It's to live in a place and don't have peace. It's to live in a place and you keep looking over your shoulders, wondering what is going to happen next. And on that note, see everything that is going on in the world. Every time you look at the news, it's something that is not admirable. So we are all called together to foster peace, to foster unity. And on that note, I'd like to invite the Bishop of Basingstoke, Reverend David Williams.
And Seema, what an extraordinary night. And I'm taking this home because the stories we tell shape our culture. And thank you for the gift of these stories. They're not just personal, they end up impacting us all. Effie Grant, Effie Blankson. On the 9th of June 2020, you'd sent me an email and I came and joined you in the vigil marking the day of George Floyd's funeral. And to my surprise, I was asked to stand and speak. And it marked for me the beginning of an extraordinary new journey into a deep commitment to racial justice. And Effie, I'm so grateful that you do on occasions allow me, and have said you will carry on letting me send you the work we're trying to do, to cast, I don't know if I can call you a reverse mentor because you're my senior, but to mentor me in that journey. And Seema, I was delighted that you came to regard this as home and amazing Stoke. I may be the only person who, whilst Bishop, although my family name is Williams, I now have to sign myself David Basingstoke. And I will do so until 2031, God willing, when I retire. On the day, on the 9th of June, when, Effie, you asked me to give a reflection, I found myself focused on just that final awful, awful phrase that George spoke just before he died. I can't breathe. And I'm conscious today, and this is partly because of the story that Islam brings us, I'm conscious today that people in Israel, in Gaza, and in the West Bank may well be saying that same phrase, I can't breathe. And I don't know where we go with that. There are politicians who will call us, and I think always de-escalation calls for ceasefire. De-escalate the conflict. Let's sit down and work together what justice and compassion looks like. But this is not a political gathering. This is a deeply reflective gathering at the end of today. There is the shortest verse in the New Testament. In my youth, people used it almost in a profane way. Jesus wept. And the context is that he looks over Jerusalem and finds himself yearning from his heart, if only they knew what made for peace. And I wonder sometimes if our response, no matter what our faith background, is simply that we cry out. We become heartbroken as we allow something of the unimaginable tragedy and the perilously close experience of despair that is in risk of triumphing. And so I wonder if, to conclude, you would be prepared, if you are able, to stand, and I will use what I think is a reasonably inclusive prayer for the Abrahamic faiths, but whether you hold a committed faith or none, perhaps you allow some of this heartfelt concern that despair might be replaced by hope, that war and destruction might be replaced by a future, that men and women who long for peace would gain a voice. So if you're able, can you stand with me? God of compassion and justice, we cry to you for all who suffer in the Holy Land today, for your precious children, Israeli and Palestinian, traumatized, in fear for their lives, for the families of the bereaved, for those who have seen images they will never forget, for those anxiously waiting for news, despairing with each passing day. For young men and women heading into combat, bearing the burden of what others have done and what they will be asked to do. For civilians in Israel, Gaza, the West Bank, that they would be protected, that every life would count, cherished and remembered. For the wounded, those facing a lifetime of scars. For those desperately seeking medical treatment tonight. For emergency personnel risking their own life to save others. For those who cannot see anything but rage and violence. Lord, we pray for mercy, for hearts to be turned towards kindness for their fellow human being. For people of peace whose imagination is large enough to conceive a different way. For those who will speak and act and be heard. One day we are promised swords will be turned into plowshares. Meet us in the distress of the Middle East this night and bring peace upon the troubled land. Amen. Thank you very much, Bishop David Williams.
And I think we'll approach the end of the evening. I have to say this wouldn't have been possible without the awesome support we've received from all of you, our partners, the council, and all the people that support what we do. This wouldn't have been possible without you. So thank you. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for partnering with us. And on that note, I'll pass on to... Hopefully she'll give me a pass mark.
What do you think he should get? A star? A star? I'll take the star away. Well, I just want to say thank you so much again. this is what we do. This is what we have been doing. And I hope that our Big Chat partners and all of the good things that they shared with you gives you a good picture of when we sit at the table with them. These are the difficult conversations we have. These are the things that when you're sleeping, we are fighting for you on and holding them to account on your behalf. So I want to acknowledge our councillors, our minority councillors who honoured our invitation as well in here. Thank you so much, Councillor Bimalaleni, Abdel, Sajish, thank you so much. You have led the way, and as Maria said, we need more of us in there where the decisions are going to be made for us. So please encourage somebody. It's not just about being a councillor, it's about being a school governor, it's about being a trustee on a board, be it football. And, you know, Ali's said so many things that they're going to be doing about football. We know that's one of the places that racism happens a lot. And that's been worked on. So let's keep working together and encouraging ourselves, become magistrates. Any form of help, that leadership role that you can take, we encourage you to take it. And so thank you all so much. And now let's go have some nibbles and some drink, and please take a lot of photos so that I can splash them all around and show how great and beautiful our amazing Stoke really is. So thank you, and see you next year, bigger and better. Have a good evening.